Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Gender Perspectives. I am Uchenna Chimdi Oluoha, and our topic today is one that affects millions of girls around the world, often silently, but deeply. Now, why is beauty so closely tied to a girl's worth in so many societies? Like, who decides what is beautiful and at what costs? And how can we begin to change a system that places so much pressure on appearance rather than character, ability, or intelligence? Well, we'll take a look at that right after this timeout, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Now, from an early age, girls are surrounded by messages through media, advertising, culture, and even family that tell them how they should look. Now, these expectations aren't just about appearance. They shape self-esteem, they influence mental health, and can limit opportunities. Now, beauty standards, they have long influenced the way girls perceive themselves and are perceived by others. Across cultures and generations, girls have been subject to a wide range of societal expectations regarding physical appearance, from skin tone to body shape to hair texture and even clothing choices. Now, these ideals are often narrow, they are often unrealistic and heavily promoted through media, advertising, and social platforms. So our background report now sheds more light on this.
Beauty standards are the ideals or expectations of physical attractiveness that are prevalent in a particular society or culture. They encompass a range of physical features, such as skin tone, body shape, facial features, and hair, that are considered desirable or beautiful. These standards are often influenced by media, fashion, and cultural norms, and can vary significantly across different time periods and cultures. Beauty standards are social norms that dictate what is considered attractive within a given culture. Over time, these standards have become increasingly narrow, commercialized, and globalized, placing immense pressure on girls to conform from a young age. The burden of meeting these expectations has significant psychological, social, and even economic consequences. From an early age, girls around the world are exposed to an overwhelming array of messages about how they should look. These messages come from media, social platforms, peers, and even family members. Beauty becomes less a personal expression and more a societal requirement, one that is often narrow, unrealistic, and exclusionary. Throughout history, beauty standards have varied by time and place. In ancient civilizations, full bodies were once associated with wealth and fertility, while the Renaissance celebrated soft features and pale skin. However, with the rise of mass media in the 20th century, especially television and magazines, idealized images of women became more uniform and widespread. The late 20th and early 21st centuries saw the emergence of the thin ideal in Western media, promoting a body type that is difficult and often unhealthy to attain. With globalization, these ideas began influencing beauty perceptions in non-Western societies as well, leading to homogenized and often unattainable beauty standards worldwide. The rise of social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and Snapchat has amplified beauty pressures. Filters, editing apps, and curated content make perfection seem accessible and expected. Young girls are especially vulnerable, often comparing themselves to influencers, celebrities, and peers whose appearances are digitally altered. Even well-meaning content that promotes beauty can be harmful if it continues to center aesthetics over substance or reinforces the idea that a girl's appearance is her most valuable trait. Numerous studies have linked unrealistic beauty standards to low self-esteem, body dysmorphia, disordered eating, anorexia, bulimia, binge eating, anxiety, and depression and obsessive use of cosmetic products or procedures. A 2021 survey found that 7 in 10 girls feel pressure to look a certain way, and many stop participating in activities they enjoy, like sports or social events, because they feel insecure about their appearance. Beauty expectations are not universal. In many societies, Western ideals, fair skin, straight hair, thin bodies, have been imposed over local definitions of beauty, contributing to colorism and the erasure of diverse features. For example, skin lightening products are still widely sold across Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Black and indigenous girls often grow up without seeing themselves represented positively in mainstream beauty media. Girls with disabilities, non-conforming gender expressions, or larger bodies face exclusion from dominant narratives of beauty. The beauty industry, worth over $500 billion globally, profits off insecurity. Marketing strategies often target girls by exploiting their fears and promising products that will make them better, prettier, or more worthy. From anti-aging creams marketed to teens, to cosmetic surgeries for minors becoming more common, the line between personal grooming and harmful pressure is increasingly blurred. This burden shapes girls' self-esteem, mental health, and sense of identity. As they grow, many begin to equate their worth with their appearance, pressure to conform to beauty ideals that often center whiteness, thinness, and perfection. Social media intensifies this, where filtered, curated lives are mistaken for reality, leading to anxiety, body dysmorphia, and a culture of comparison. In response, new movements have emerged such as body positivity, which encourages acceptance of all body types, body neutrality, which focuses on what bodies can do, rather than how they look, diversity in media with growing representation of different races, sizes, and gender expressions in fashion and entertainment. Although progress is being made, these movements still face pushback and are sometimes co-opted by corporations for profit without meaningful change. The burden of beauty expectations on girls is a deep-rooted and systemic issue. But these expectations are not natural. They are constructed. And they can be challenged. While the pressure to conform is powerful, awareness and education are critical steps toward change. Through education, representation, and open dialogue, we can help girls see beauty in diversity and reclaim control over how they define themselves.
Now, over the years, beauty standards have become increasingly commercialized and homogenized, often shaped by global media, by fashion trends, and social media algorithms. Now, for many girls, this creates a constant pressure to meet unrealistic ideals that prioritize appearance over individuality, intelligence, or capability. These expectations can lead to issues such as low self-esteem, body dissatisfaction, and even mental health struggles. Now, while the conversation around beauty is evolving, many young girls continue to carry the weight of these expectations in their daily lives. Now, to better understand how this burden is experienced and how to navigate it, we'll be speaking to Ms. Amarachi Ago. She is a public health entrepreneur. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you for having me here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so we're talking about beauty and expectations and beauty standards. So first of all, what comes to your mind when you hear about, like expectations and beauty standards, particularly for girls and women?
Okay, what comes to my mind are the expectations, the social and the cultural norms that the society has for girls and women, the way they should look, the way they should dress, in order for them to feel attractive. And if they don't dress in that particular way, or maybe they don't have the body shape that is in line with that particular standards, they are not accepted or considered beautiful by the society.
Yeah, but why do you think it's like that? So why do you think that society is like that or puts that much pressure, on how to look?
Okay, I don't really think it's not just the society. There are so many factors that affect it.
Okay.
For instance, now, culture. In Nigeria, there is a particular way that's back in the 80s, before civilization came. There's a particular way that women are expected to dress or behave or act. Then coming to the social media age, social media has also had a lot of impact on the beauty standards for girls. For instance, we always try to promote girls that have a particular body structure, maybe have a particular hair type when we are doing social media ads. So younger girls will want to look exactly like what they see, because you don't normally see a particular set of girls used for arts, right? And then in our families, when we are talking to our female children, that's the girls, some parents always tell them, if you become a little bit slim, you'll be more beautiful, or maybe if your tummy goes a little bit slimmer, you'll be more acceptable, or you have to look in a certain way for you to be a good wife material, for you to be marriageable. So this creates a mindset in the girls that I have to look in a certain way for me to be marriageable, for me to be acceptable, both by my peers and also by my family and the society. So there's a lot of pressure going on in the minds and hearts of girls in Nigeria, and then even all over the world too.
Okay. So let me just ask a personal question. Have you ever felt that pressure? This pressure we're talking about now, have you ever felt that pressure? Can you tell us what that was and how you handled it?
Okay. So growing up, I used to have a lot of I grew up with guys.
Okay.
So I was like the only girl in the family. So there was this pressure to be slim. I remember that I stopped eating late night food. I even stopped eating swallow just because I
Wow.
didn't want to because I didn't want to be fat. And
Yeah.
up till now, I don't really eat like I always take small portions when it comes to eating either eba or fufu or anything because
Yes.
of that decision I made when I was still a teenager. And then at a point, I was like, I'm not doing it again. I had to accept myself the way that I am. I'm no longer, if I want to slim down, it's because of maybe my health or this is who I want to be, not because of what the society expects me to be as a girl child.
Yeah, but was that a societal thing though? Was it a personal thing? Or is it because you grew up around guys?
Okay, I think it's both a personal thing and a societal thing. Why I call it personal is because of certain mindsets that people have. There are some persons that will receive the same comments and they would not react in certain ways. Right? There are families that train their daughters to appreciate themselves, that their worth is not based on their looks, their worth is not based on being slim or fat, it's based on their personal values like kindness, like emotional intelligence, and those values that made them being confident, those values that made them who they are. So when girls that come out from such families, when you tell them they are slim, they are fat, or they are this or that, whatever you call it, it doesn't really affect them. It doesn't change the way they see themselves. They wouldn't start fasting because you told them that they are fat. Neither would they start eating because you told them that they are slim. They already know who they are, and their worth is not based on who they look or
Yeah, but I'm asking
anything.
about you though, like you, because you said you had to lose weight because you grew up around guys, so you wanted to be slim. So I'm asking, is it the people you were around that made you feel like you had to lose weight, or is just a personal thing? You just felt like, oh, because I was hanging around guys, let me lose weight.
Okay, it's not, it's a personal thing though, yes, it's a personal thing. And then the society also had a role to play in it. Peers and friends, when most of your friends are slim, you want to be like your
Yeah.
friends so that you'll be acceptable to your friends and all. Yes.
Yeah, okay. Now you mentioned social media and but I'd like us to go more in depth in social media and what role that it has to play. So can you like throw more light on what you meant when you said social media also has a role to play?
Okay, social media has a lot of role to play because especially for younger girls, they're not really educated on what social media, how to be able to navigate through social media. I remember a few years ago when I was in my seminar research, I came across a girl who committed suicide because she
Wow.
was told that she is ugly. And then it was really, I was really amazed because looking at her, she was actually very beautiful. And I was like, okay, why would she think that she is ugly? And because she was not really properly educated on how to navigate through social media, the pictures you're seeing online, those pictures have gone through a lot of editing and they've been filtered. People try to present that perfect look on social media, and then looking at yourself, you don't really know what, the girls, they don't know what the stages that the pictures have gone through. They want to look like them, they want to have that glass skin, yeah, that
Yes.
complexion, that they want to have that perfect body shape, not knowing that the images they are seeing online are not real. They're just the output of editing and going through filters.
Okay, but do you also think that it could be a reason why some girls are going for things like for body enhancements?
Yeah, yes. Just like I mentioned earlier, maybe through arts, like maybe, and then all this beauty pageantry. The girls that they're always showing are people that are slim, that have a flawless skin. Let me say you're going through an ad and you're a teenager and you just see this image of a girl that is flawless, perfect, has the perfect body shape. Definitely, you will like be like, how can I be like this girl? Maybe after the ad, you are now seeing maybe an advertisement for you to either buy a product to look like her.
Yeah.
You find out some girls who want to do everything to buy that product so that they can look like the image that was presented in the ad.
Okay. So now, seeing how all these things are playing out, what effects does this have on, girls? Like how does it affect them positively or negatively?
I think it affects girls negatively.
How? Why?
Okay, it affects self-esteem of some girls who have not been able to who have not been educated on their worth and their values, so they are basing their worth and their values based on looks. So when you see an average girl from a random family, she she's not priding on intelligence, she's not priding on her emotional intelligence, or maybe who she's what she's what she's priding on her looks. She wants to get favor from you because of she feels she's smart. I mean, she feels she's she wants to get favor from you because she feels she has a good body structure.
Okay.
Yes, and she has a flawless skin, so automatically you should actually grant her that favor, not because she's intelligent, not because she has good social skills or emotional skills that are relevant, that makes one an individual, I mean, in the society.
Yeah. Okay, well, the way you say it now, because some people are also saying, my body, my choice. I have a choice to, do what I want to do with my body, and it's not a lack of self-esteem. It's just I want to look better. I want to look
Okay.
better. So what are your thoughts on that?
Okay, what I think is, in as much as you have a choice, but what influences that choice? I mean, all choices we are making in life, or you would make, are influenced by something. Could it be something that happened years ago? Could it be what you saw that influenced that choice? And what impact are your choices making on you and also on the society in general? Because whether we like it or not, our choices have an impact on others and also on us. For instance, some of all these beauty products have health implications later in life. And then also they could also have a negative impact on others when they see you. I mean, the way you portray yourself, and also the way you are also, I mean, promoting. What are you promoting amongst the younger generation? It's not just about you. Are you also promoting that same standard of, is my body, I can do whatever I want? Or are you promoting younger generation of girls who are proud of who they are, not because of their looks, but because of their what, I mean, their internal and social skills?
Yeah, okay. So what about when it comes to mental health? Do you think that aside from the harm it causes the body, do you think that it affects, their mental health?
Yes, it affects mental health. So many, some girls are going through depression and anxiety. Maybe you see a girl, I mean, she among secondary school or primary school children, maybe someone tells her you are ugly or you are charcoal because she's dark. She might decide to start applying bleaching cream, or maybe she might decide she can go into depression and having this thought of, I am not smart enough, I'm not beautiful enough because I am dark, and she will want to become like others, leading to low moods, that is depression. And if care is not taken, it can actually lead to suicide, because depression is one of the the factors that lead to
Yeah.
suicide amongst teenagers.
Okay. So now when we talk about body image issues, we've talked about how it affects their mental health, right? But do you think there is any correlation between when it comes to body image issues and self-worth? Do you think that there is any correlation, or would you say that, you know, there is really nothing, because like I said earlier, most girls, when they talk about, they'll tell you, oh, I want to look good, it's not, I'm not feeling less of myself, I want to look good. And then just like you said, it affects self-esteem. So these are two different sides of the story. So would you say that body image has anything to do with self-worth?
Okay. Yes, body image can have something to do with self-worth for an individual that is basing their self-worth based on their body image. Remember, it's all about mindset. I mean, it's all about how a child has been encultured, what you've been telling that child. If you've been raised that maybe your worth is based on your body image, then definitely you will see yourself all about how you dress or how you show up. But if you've been raised that your worth is based on who you are, based on your personal skills, based on being intelligent, based on being smart, based on making impact in the society, you would not base in as much as you endeavor to look good, yes, you endeavor to look smart, look good and everything, but you will not base your worth on how you look. Rather, you base it based on the impact, how you're impacting the society, how you're impacting your family and people around you, and then how you're able to relate socially with others in the society.
Okay. But now you mentioned about, the experience that you had when it came to like your body and all of that. But have you encountered a younger person who, is going through something like this? Have you ever encountered a younger person, or maybe somebody has come to tell you something about that?
Yeah, I think I have, and that was years ago.
Okay.
It was actually a boy, not a girl.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
okay.
so he
Let's
was
talk
actually,
about that.
yeah. So he was like that his classmates think that he's too short.
Oh, okay.
So I told him, like, anybody that thinks that you are too short, the person is abnormal. because I discovered it started affecting the way he sees himself. He wanted to, children as they are growing up, they try to get influenced by their friends, by their classmates, you understand. So he was feeling low because of what his classmate told him. And I had to tell him that anyone that feels that you're too short is abnormal, that you're okay and you're perfect. And I did not hear him talk about it again.
Oh, wow, that's interesting, which leads me to talk about men, because in as much as we're talking about the girls, I think it's important that we also talk about the boys. Now, do you think that boys experience this burden that we're talking about when it comes to beauty expectations?
Yeah, but it's not as much as girls, because the society is like everyone is after girls, like how we dress and everything. So there's no much emphasis on boys based on their looks. You wouldn't see a parent telling their boy child or their son that maybe you are too fat, it's always the girls, because they want them to be perfect so that they can have their girls get married on time.
Yes.
Something like that.
Okay, but the few, even though it's not much, is there.
Yes, it's there.
So what are those ones that affect them that are there?
Okay, the ones that affect boys in the society.
Yeah,
I think it's just based on the, just like I told you now, based on skin complexion. I've seen boys that are using bleaching cream because they want to have a lighter complexion.
Okay.
They feel like becoming lighter means that they are more handsome, and then they will get more approval from their peers and their families. I've also seen boys that dress in certain ways that they are not meant to dress, but in terms of like, it's not like it's decent, but because it's popular, and then maybe popular influencers are dressing in certain ways, they want to dress in those ways, which is not really healthy, which is not acceptable. Okay.
no, say it.
Which is not acceptable. But because they want to look like a certain influencer, they want to dress like a certain influencer. Sorry, I missed my line.
No, continue.
Okay, they want to dress like a certain influencer in the society. So we see a lot of boys like using of jewelries, and with, in terms of the kind of hair that they
Okay. Okay.
like using of dress, jewelries, and all these things were not really there. It's not like I'm speaking against it, but what is influencing it? It's still the same thing that we're talking about, because certain influencers, social media influencers or media influencers are dressing in that particular way. So many boys and even men too are trying to dress like that so that they'll become more acceptable, so that they will feel that sense of belonging in the society. But it was not always there.
Yeah. So would you say that in this situation, social media has done more harm than good?
I would not really say that social media has done more harm. So social media has been very helpful.
Okay.
It has helped to connect, bring connection to families. With your social media, you can connect with people across different parts of the world. Many businesses have benefited from social media. I think we just have to balance social media by giving our young people the right education on how to navigate through social media. Just like nobody goes into, you don't go into social media unprepared. That's my own view.
Okay.
Yes, so you don't just allow your children to go into social media without educating them, so that they would not go into depression or anxiety because they want to belong. They want to feel that sense of belonging. They want to get many likes. But if you educate them that this is social media, you have to be yourself. And most of the people you are seeing, they're trying to be like others. You don't have to become like them. So when they have that consciousness that they have to be themselves and they have to focus on making social impact. Some weeks ago, I listened to a podcast that talked about social impact. The purpose of social media is social impact. So if you're going to social media to make social impact and maybe to promote your business, you will not be thinking about someone liking your picture or maybe trying to look or dress in a certain way, because you want to impact the society. You want to grow your skills. You want people from different parts of the world to be able to patronize what you are doing, and not just for you to start maybe showing people your body structure, whatever you want to show.
Okay. But at the same time, most people also say that social media has helped them love themselves more, because just like you said, this idea of slim girls, a particular height, a particular body structure, people are also coming out on social media. The big girls, those ones whose bodies are not as perfect as the models. Don't you think that is also going to help young people who are feeling less of themselves when they see people like that on their social media? Don't you think it's going to help them to love themselves as well?
Yeah, it can help them to love themselves, but the idea of you loving yourself because others are accepting it, whether they accept it or not, this is who I am. I love myself. Whether someone in social media, maybe someone is looking a certain way and then the person is getting a wide acceptance, or not. This is who I am. I know who I am. I know my value. I know my worth. So my worth should not be based on whether someone is being liked on social media or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but another thing, another angle to this when we talk about, loving yourself.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that some people love themselves in the wrong way? For instance, someone that is fat.
Okay.
We already know that people that are fat usually get a lot of comments about their size and their weight and all of that.
Yeah.
But then when we talk about, loving yourself and not conforming to beauty expectation, they'll tell you, yes, I love myself the way I am. I'm fat. I love myself like that. But they don't take care of their body. They don't exercise or eat healthy. They just eat whatever it is that they want to eat. They just do whatever because of, I love my body. So don't you think that some people, that is also the another side to it, when people love themselves in the wrong way?
Yeah, I think so too. Like loving yourself the long way. I mean, the wrong way, because you've accepted this is who I am. And I think that's not a healthy way of loving yourself. Because if you are not taking care of yourself, you're not exercising and you are getting fatter, it's not good for your health. It's not good for your internal organs. It's not good for your heart. One day or someday, you might go down with an illness. So are you actually loving yourself? Seeing as much as you want to appreciate yourself, it's also good to. There are some persons I know that they are fat and they are still very flexible and they exercise. So you can also be exercising, you can be taking care of yourself, you can mind what you are eating, not just because of what people think about you, but because of your health.
Okay. So you agree that people can love themselves the wrong way. So how do we now find the balance between loving yourself when you're loving yourself right and loving yourself wrong? Where is the balance? How do you know when you are going out of the proper way to love yourself?
Okay. For me, the balance is this. In loving yourself, be sure you are weighing your actions. Okay? So if I'm eating, what are the after effects of my eating? If I'm exercising, what are the after effects? If I'm not exercising, what are the after effects of my decisions? So if I'm able to ensure that the after effects will lead to me not having any challenge in the future, whether health challenge or physical challenge in the future, is okay. But if it's going to lead to a negative implication in the future, then definitely I'm not loving myself. So the motive is what is important.
So basically everything is just the motive of love. But some people don't know. Some people don't know that they are doing it wrong. So how do people make them know that they are doing it wrong?
Okay. So how do you let them know that they are doing it? I think one of the ways to let them know that they are doing it wrong is just like you are talking about it now. If someone comes across this video, this program, and gets to listen to, the person would know definitely that he or she is doing it the wrong way. So it's just by information, by education, when you're able to educate people. The purpose of education is to enlighten people. Some people make decisions because they don't know more. I always believe that if people know more, they will do better. Right?
That's true.
And if they hear it from people they respect, because sometimes, because of the way people have received a lot of negative comments, so when you come with a negative criticism, they are, even before you finish saying it, they're already defending themselves. But if you come in a constructive way, and if they hear it from people that they respect and admire, they will definitely want to do it, because they know that this person is not coming to attack them or make them to body shame them, but rather this person is coming to help them, and they will actually follow.
Okay. Now, earlier on, you mentioned about, society focusing more on women and girls because they want them to look a certain way so that they'll get married. Now, aside from the marriage aspect, why do you think that society puts so much pressure on the females and how they look? Why is the pressure so much? Aside from marriage, what else?
Well, aside from marriage, I can't really think about any other thing. Yeah, because, especially in this part of the world, if you're raising a girl child as an African parent, what they will tell you is go to school, graduate, and get married. So they are looking at you because they feel like, oh, this person is a good wife material, or this person would not be a good wife material. So that, for our African culture, that's what I think basically. Yes, and then because of, female are normally associated with sex, right? Yeah, they always try to sexualize the female body. So they feel like in order for us to have a moral society, that is actually, the females that can be able to help to portray it. in terms of dressing decent, ensuring not to expose different parts of their bodies, and dressing in a way that is more acceptable socially. Why this is important, it's also necessary that the boys also, I mean the male, are also being, talked to about how they dress.
Yeah. So we'll be coming to the role that men and boys play in all of this. But before then, I want to know, what about all these beauty products, all these beauty, both, just beauty products generally, cream, soaps, what, skincare and all the, and all, do you think that they are also influencing, how people see themselves?
Yeah, they could, because they will actually advertise their beauty products. And in advertisement, they make use of they use images, they use words that will make you to want to buy. They try to act on your emotion. They want to activate your emotions so that you can be able to buy. They want to make you to desire to buy their products.
Yeah.
So they can go to any extent that some companies, some beauty companies, yes, because they actually want you to buy their products. Those who make bleaching creams, they want you to buy. So that's why they portray the image of who you are going to look like, the perfect skin that you're going to have if you buy their products. I think they actually have a role to play in this.
Okay, but what about, do you think that it's a free world for them? They are free to do all of that because at the end of the day, it's business and they are making money. But do you think there should be some sort of restrictions to them, or would you say it's just the market and business?
Okay, this is actually a tricky one because you cannot really, they will tell you they are not directly forcing you to do anything harmful, right? And I know most of the harmful beauty products now are either the government is after them or some government regulating bodies are after them, right? You get, so they are not directly forcing you to buy, they're only promoting their products or their service. Just like smoking, they'll tell you smokers are liable to die young,
Yeah.
and they still decide to buy the cigarettes and smoke. So it's based on your choice.
So at the end of the day, you can't really hold them responsible for whatever you do to your body, even when you're using their products.
So far, there is no harmful, ingredients used in manufacturing, in the production of that product.
Most of them have harmful, like bleaching creams, of course, have harmful ingredients, don't you think?
Yeah, most of them do have harmful, but there are regulations that determine the percentage of what you are meant to use in each product, and any company that is using beyond the percentage of those products, they are actually being banned by government, except they are secretly using some products that the regulatory bodies are not aware of, which if they find out, the organizations will be banned.
Yeah, that's true, actually. So now, these beauty standards, do you think that it controls women's lifestyle or limits, do you think it controls them in any way or in any form, or limits their freedom or the way they express themselves? Do you think?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, in what ways? Tell us about it.
For instance, now, a lady, you want to go out, you focus, in as much as it's good to look good, but some persons, because of that excessive obsession on looks, they want to be able to make sure they look perfect. Sometimes, some even start preparing for occasions a long time to make sure that they have that perfect shape that will fit the perfect clothes. And you get, so, like, some people go through a lot of stress just to look a certain way to be acceptable. And the motive is not because of maybe they are, pleasing themselves, but because of being acceptable by maybe the society, or being acceptable by the event, at the event that they are going to, you get. So I think it has a way of affecting ladies negatively.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so negatively more than positively.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
forgot your question.
Sorry?
I forgot your question. Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, I was asking whether it limits, it limits them or controls them in any form.
Okay, beauty
Yes,
standards.
yes.
Okay, I think it limits and it also controls. Limit or controls?
Both, either one.
Okay.
Limits or controls, anyone.
Okay, I think both limiting and controlling. Yeah, because people spend a lot of money to look in a certain way. People go for surgeries, maybe either to remove belly fat or maybe to add some fats at different areas, maybe the butt, or maybe, yes, just to look in a certain way. So you see people that are obsessed about looks, obsessed about how they look, how they present themselves, not because it is healthy, but because of maybe they believe that their self-worth is based on how they look, or they want to look in a certain way.
Oh, but do you also think it's because some people will say that women are gullible, that's why, they are easily, these things easily attract them. They are easily attracted to some things that may be irrelevant. So do you think it's like that? Do you think that's how it is for women? Are we easily gullible? Are we easily attracted to irrelevant things?
Okay, I would say that women love beauty. Yeah,
Okay.
every lady, every woman wants to look beautiful. Even an elderly woman who also want to prioritize her looks. She always want to dress well. So because women love beauty and they are conscious of their looks, so they tend to be attracted to those things. Yeah, so that they can be able to get that perfect body shape.
Yeah, okay.
But there's nothing like, I don't believe there's anything like a perfect body shape,
Mm-hmm.
except maybe you have to go through surgery, which
Surgery,
has its own
yeah.
side effects.
Exactly. Now, let's talk about men and boys. Now, do you think that they contribute to these pressures when it comes to beauty standards for women?
Okay, yeah, I think so. I think that
How?
men. Okay, for instance, now an average young man. Let me say there are a group of ladies that are walking on the road. They
Mm-hmm.
would always appreciate the one that seems to have that perfect body structure, the one that is slim, or maybe has long hairs, or that has that perfect body
Body,
structure.
yeah.
Yeah. Then the one that is not as slim as that maybe might be smarter and more intelligent, might be feeling low because people are not really appreciating her, but they've not really got to know her. To know that this lady is smart, this lady is intelligent. They are judging her
Yeah.
based on her looks, not knowing that she has a lot upstairs.
Yeah, okay. So that's basically the way they contribute.
Yeah.
Only, that's the only thing.
I think that might not really be the only thing, but I think that's all I can remember for now.
Okay, so how can they, since they also contribute to these things, how can they also contribute to reducing, these pressures and helping women not to feel less of themselves because of the way they appreciate other women?
Okay, so I think that emotional intelligence is very
Okay.
important. When you're able to know the impact of, like when you're able to know the impact of your decisions, of your words on others. For instance, if there are many ladies, you don't just compliment one lady, you should compliment all the ladies, and in a
Yeah.
positive way, because you know that we are emotional beings too. So they might not really voice it out, but deep within they'll be like, is it that like this dress is not okay on me? Is it that I'm too fat? Sometimes even ladies, sometimes your friends can even be asking you, am I too fat? Am I too slim? Because they are conscious. Maybe because somebody did not appreciate them. Someone that they expected to appreciate their looks did not appreciate them. They're not asking themselves questions. Maybe going through a season of fasting to get slim. Yeah, but when you come to a place and you appreciate everybody, and then you appreciate intelligence. Oh, this lady is smart. This lady is intelligent. You see that the ladies around your circle, they would want to be more intelligent. They would want to be smart. They would want to focus on creativity because they know that this is what is appreciated in the society rather than just physical looks. Yeah, that's how I think that men can help to encourage ladies to be more or less conscious.
Okay. So now we also know that aside from men, even when people go to school from a young age, when these girls go to school, or even in the workplace or family self, parents,
Yeah.
people say some things that can make people want to change how they look. So how would you say that schools and parents and just people generally can help with building other people's confidence and not make them feel pressure to look a certain way?
Okay. I think how we can do that is by watching what we say to people. It's very important. You don't just, because we all have mouth does not mean that we just say anything because we feel like we can say it. Knowing that our words have impact on others, whether we know it or not. So when we're able to be watchful of what we say to people and how we say it, it will go a long way in helping to curtail this. And then also, just like I mentioned, when we encourage values, impacts, purpose, and living a life that impacts others more than physical looks in the society, in the family. Let me say, for instance, a child does something and the parent is always, appreciates maybe this child, oh, you are such a kind lady, you are beautiful because you are kind, not just because you are slim or because you are fat. So when we actually promote those values, those virtues, those personal values, I think it will also help to eliminate the focus on physical looks.
All right. So now, finally, just before we wrap up this conversation, someone watching this, a young girl or even a young boy who is struggling with accepting how they look, watching this now, what advice would you give to that person to help them, with this phase of their lives?
Okay, I would advise anyone that is watching this that, okay, you have to know that your value, your worth is not based on how you look. It's not based on whether you are slim, whether you're fat, or whether you're chubby. Your worth is based on your personal value. So if you're kind, you are making impact in the society, you're emotionally intelligent, and you're doing something great, you're impacting your family. By society, I don't really mean maybe when you're going to, I mean, you're doing something great, like you're buying food or buying things for people. But sorry, I missed my line.
Continue,
Okay, by the
continue.
society, I don't really mean when you're doing something that is so large, like all these rich and wealthy people. If you are actually being helpful in your family, you are helping your parents, you are helping your siblings, know that you are beautiful and you are worth something. So don't base your worth based on how you look. So don't try to put yourself under pressure to look a certain way or to act a certain way because of society, because of culture, social media. Know that even those people that you are looking at, maybe you feel like they are perfect. When you go to them, there are some things that make them, nobody is actually perfect. There are some things that make them to be imperfect. And sometimes they will even want to be like you because you are audacious, you are bold, and they are not really audacious and bold. So we should prioritize on values that makes us individuals of worth rather than values that make us to shame ourselves or make us look down on ourselves.
Exactly. That's a very good one. And this thing you said now just made me think of something which I'm going to ask before we round up.
Okay.
Do you think that people who say negative things about how other people look don't feel confident about
Yeah.
themselves?
You treat people the way you treat yourself. That's what I believe, and that's what I've observed. You see people that are confident about themselves, people that speak positively to themselves, they speak positively to others, right? But if you speak positively to yourself and you speak negatively to others, there's still something there there's this low self-esteem there that is making you to compare yourself to others. But if you are confident in who you are, definitely you will love others and you appreciate others.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Amarachi Agu, for this
Thank you
lovely
for
conversation.
having
I hope
me.
you enjoyed your time
Yeah, I
enjoying the
did. Yeah.
conversation. All right.
Okay.
And we'll be back in a moment. Keep watching.
The way we see the world shapes the way we change it. Gender isn't just a checkbox, it's a lens, one that helps us understand the world more deeply and act more fairly. Gender Perspectives, a program for those ready to see more, do more, and be more. Designed to challenge assumptions, ignite conversations, and build inclusive solutions across every sector of society.
We are not, fighting the men. We are not saying we are equal in terms of rights. We're only asking they should recognize our existence.
Join us on Gender Perspectives, showing every Saturday by 4 p.m. Repeat every Wednesdays by 5 p.m. and Thursdays by 3 p.m. Change begins with perspective. Let's widen yours.
All right, welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching Gender Perspectives on Signature TV. Now, I hope you heard, all that was said during our interview segment about loving yourself and who you are. Now, when it comes to beauty standards and how they affect girls, there is a lot of misinformation and many assumptions that go unchallenged. Now, some ideas are so widely accepted that they feel like facts even when they are not. That's why it's important to separate myth from reality. And so in this segment, we'll take a closer look at some common beliefs about beauty and girls' self-image, what society says versus what the research and real-life experiences actually show. And so by debunking these myths, we can begin to understand the deeper issues beyond beauty expectations and promote more informed and compassionate conversation. So let's break it down. Watch and learn. Well, as we wrap up today's program, it's clear that beauty expectations are more than just surface level concerns. They shape how girls see themselves and how they are treated and how they move through the world. These pressures are real, they are deeply rooted and often harmful, but they are not unchangeable. So, by raising awareness, challenging harmful norms, and uplifting diverse voices and definitions of beauty, we all have a role to play when it comes to creating a more inclusive and supportive society. Now, the goal isn't to shame anyone for caring about their appearance, but to make sure that beauty is never seen as the only measure of worth. Now, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Make sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. We're live on YouTube 247, and make sure to watch us on SLTV Channel 265. Well, I am Uchenna Chimdi Olwoha, and see you next week.